typically, a king is sovereign and he has power in the state. The king has the respect of the people, but the government have the power. Recently, the power tussle between the governor of Oyo State and has taken another turn as the Oyo State High Court, presided over by Justice Olajumoke Aiki, has declared the installation of the 21 kings by the state governor, Abiola Ajimobi, as unconstitutional, illegal, null and void, and of no effect. So we ask, who really should be in charge in the government? You know what was so interesting about this article? Because the Olubadan was saying that, listen, I'm not going to be celebrating and be excited over something that I already know. That's the right thing to do. And I don't also want to focus so much on this case because we don't want to get into the political angle of it.
Because they have even gone to appeal. So.
They've gone to appeal, so anything can happen. But the question is, in Nigeria, do you think the monarchs should have superseding authority over the government, or should it be the other way around? Who wants to go? Mariam, yes, go ahead.
Okay, for me, I think, you know, that when it comes to traditional system and traditional way of doing things, in my personal opinion, the traditional leaders should be the ones that have supremacy when it comes to those matters. Politicians should concentrate on political matters. You know, it would be naive for us to say we haven't heard of stories where politicians have used, you know, their political clout to settle political clout scores. Yes. Do you understand? So you have a governor or politician, I'm not saying that's what's happening in this case, who comes in and then for political benefits, he either deposes one Oba or one king and insults another one. And that has always been a problem. So I think that traditional system, traditional matters should be handled by traditional rulers.
But in our system today that everybody is driven by money. That's the driving force for elections, politics, the whole works. The Obas don't have the kind of money that these government officials are wielding. So if you think that the Obas have the ability to actually galvanize people, yes, it's because they have money taken from the government. They don't have, because we don't do farming. You know, like, you know, back then, the monarchs, they have their territories where they are growing plants, and I mean, they're growing fruits, and they sell, and they have their own, they have access to their own resources. But now, everything's owned by the federal government. So who pays the piper?
For me, I think the government should wield its power because, number one, they have the functional power. They are the one piloting the affairs of the nation. So they have that power to put who here and who there and all of that. Yes. Okay. The monarchs shouldn't have that kind of power because, like you said, they do not even have the resources that will help them do what they are supposed to do. So they should manage their scope. They should handle traditional issues that surround their scope. They are more like peacemakers in the society and not having powers to say, okay, this and this should be this and make it law.
Can I say something? You see, before the colonialists came in,
I knew you were going to go there.
you know me, I will go there.
Colonial master.
Before the colonialists, they are not my masters, they are colonialists. When you say colonial master, you accept them as your master. They are not my master. When the colonialists came in, the monarchs were already ruling. They came and then took over. And now they started, so we now still maintain that system of the colonialists by the government saying, okay, you are the Oba, you are the this.
Okay.
That is not the way it was in those days.
Yes.
It was by family or by hierarchy or by...
Mikey, what I'm hearing her say is that civilization has taken over. People are more enlightened now. So the Oba doesn't have that kind of effect anymore.
They don't have.
I agree that because it is the government that has the money.
Exactly.
So because the government has the money, and a lot of the traditional rulers have become, they are sucking up to the politicians or the soldiers, because when it was the soldiers, it was the same thing. Exactly. So it was them giving them handouts, and that is where they have lost touch with reality.
Okay.
But the real thing, the only Ibadan said that it is really, what concerns Ajimobi with installing
Like I said, we don't want to go into the Osha because they are still appealing and anything can be turned around.
Even if it's turned around, I will still say the same thing.
But you see, because at some point they had said that you had the constitutional power to install. I read it earlier.
Yes, and the committee was headed by Justice Akintunde Bade, meaning that I'm sure that the legalese of it was gone through. You know, they went through that.
That's what I thought.
So that means the governor really thought he had the authority to do what he did. It's not that he woke up one morning and then he picked people from anywhere, because these people are actually chiefs in council.
Yes.
Do you understand? And he promoted them.
Yes.
So what happened between the time of setting up this committee to the time that they were installed?
So the question now, to me is that, should we then push for the relevance, for the empowerment of our Obas? Because our Oba Akelu is right here, you know. We see him, but a lot of people respect him. But does he have the power to tell the governor, you are doing, you know, can he be in full control of what's going on in Lagos State?
The system we are operating will not even give room to that. Do you understand? The system, the government is...
Well, should we go back to that?
No, I don't think it's necessary for us to go back to that. I think the monarchs should be given their place as monarchs. They should have their say in certain things as monarchs, you know.
Which things? Because since they don't have power, what are they there for?
No, they actually handle land disputes and all, family disputes and all of that on that level. You know, they should be on that level.
But in this case, it's not the problem of the monarchs overstepping their bounds. It's actually
the government
interfering.
Right.
So now the monarchs know their place. But I think what we're trying to find out is, do they still have the same clout they used to have because of the because they don't have the resources?
Issues with Fulani herdsmen, all these issues where even Boko Haram is festering. It is those monarchs that if they had full control in the beginning, they would have cut those things, nipped it in the bud before it got to the level where now we need military men. Let me take Julius and I'll come to you, Waiki. Julius, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead. And the rest ladies.
Yes, go ahead.
What I want to say is that if you are talking about civilization, that we should be dancing to the music of the music of the politicians. We cannot be dancing to the music of the politicians. Right. Ajumabi has no right to install any king in Ibadan. Let me tell you something. I am from Ikere, and I live in England. When I got to Spain in the year 1974, Spain was under the dictatorship of General Francis Franco. In the 1975, when he died, the king came back because he sent the king away. The king came back. Now, you cannot, because of civilization, tell the queen of England, the king of Spain, the king of Holland, that, oh, that civilization, we don't want you anymore. After all, they are not doing anything. That is exactly how we should continue with our tradition and our cultural heritage.
Thank you very much, Julius. It's interesting how we...
I'm so happy.
Okay, we like to choose when we want to do tradition.
No. Listen to what he said.
Not in every case.
What I like about what he said is, the Queen of England, whether there is a prime minister or not, she still takes her rightful place. And when the prime minister is installed, because she will be there, they will come and go.
Yes.
He will go there and take, it must pay homage.
Exactly. Politicians come and go every 4 years. But, you know, the monarchs are there from from centuries before.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where we from Ikorodu. Are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah. By virtue of what is on ground in Nigeria, by the way we play our politics, as it is today, the politicians have the superior power over their monarchs. Because there's no king that would be installed that would not be given a staff of office. Who gave the staff of office? Is it not the governor or whoever?
Right.
So, who plays the price dictates the tune. You understand me? Now, let me just tell you, Marawa, your husband is from Ikere. You know what is happening in Ikere today?
Yes. Ikere and Ogoga.
Yes, a priest who is now claiming to be a monarch, carrying thoughts all about killing people, all about beating the shield. Now you want government to fold their hands and be watching that kind of monarch? So the issue of the superiority between political leaders and monarchs should not even come up because the politicians have the superior power over.
All right, thank you very much for your view, Mr. Olayinka. But, I mean, it's important to talk about these things because we are pushing for constitutional review.
Yes.
And it might be time for us to bring up these issues that, okay, what exactly is the point? Because we've seen the government have full power. And we've seen how it's been where our monarch seem less able to wield their power. So is it possible that if we do that switch or do something where it's such that both can work together in that level, maybe things will be different? But let's take a few tweets. Why go ahead?
Your dad says, governance has evolved. Monarchs reign supreme in the Stone Age. Welcome to the platinum age of politicking. Okpayemi Yek says, monarch or politicians who should be in charge of government, they have different roles and responsibilities. Monarchs have permanent power or office. Politicians have temporary stays in office. Right. Seedorf says, traditional institutions are bastardized because all have interest in money, not interest of the people. Okay,
we have to take a break now, unfortunately, but we can still thrash the topic another time with the guest. But we want to just talk about the fact that people are just saying, remember the argument over going on Olubadan and the governor. So the idea is just to discuss why does it seem that our kings these days don't have the kind of power? But unfortunately, we have to stop right there. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's Healthy Tuesday. Cervical cancer is our topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Yes, thanks for staying with us. So cervical cancer, we've said it several times. At this point, it should be no news to you. We have discussed it so many times on this show. A recent research states that more than half of women diagnosed with cervical cancer die in Nigeria. Joining us to shed more light again is a medical doctor, Dr. Femi Olaleye. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Now, just for those watching for the very first time, have no idea what cervical cancer is. So just start from the basics. What is cervical cancer and how do you diagnose it?
Yes, cervical cancer is the cancer of the neck of the womb of a woman. Every woman has got a womb, and the neck of the womb is the opening. And for practical purposes, it's designed to have a hole there to allow a period of a woman to come out. If the woman is lucky and has sex regularly, the sperm will go in through the cervix to go and fertilize the eggs. And when a woman gets pregnant, the cervix has to open to allow the baby to come out. And more importantly, close so that the woman will not bleed to death. It's a very functional organ. Most women will never even get to know about their cervix because they don't get to see it. But it's actually #1 killer of women in Nigeria when it comes to cancer. A woman dies every hour from cervical cancer. And guess how they get it?
Through the men, yeah.
From us guys.
Because the men will be doing about like cockroach.
Thank you, Auntie Shani. Not exactly because we go around like cockroach, because we've been blessed with this gift of HPV as a normal flora on our body. It doesn't do anything to us, cannot penetrate. But when we penetrate women, we transfer the virus to women. Right. And that's our gift to you. Sadly,
I don't want the gift.
I know. Sadly, women don't know this, and therefore they are not prepared for this diagnosis. So when they start having symptoms, doctors are helpless. But thankfully, about 4 decades ago, a Greek pathologist called George Papanikolaou, discovered that if you can check the woman's cervix throughout her reproductive life, you can detect the abnormalities on the cervix before it develops to cancer. And that's from the basis of the developed world screening all their women and doing the so-called pap smear. Yeah. And sadly, we're still in the Stone Ages. Our government don't think you women care or matter, and you never have a national cervical cancer screening program. But despite all what I've said, the World Health Organization recognizes this challenge and has made January, the first month of every year, as a month of cervical cancer awareness, simply because it's the #1 priority for women, particularly women who are already having sex.
What are the symptoms?
Okay, I don't like talking about symptoms because most people switch off or most people panic. Okay, vaginal discharge
Allow me to panic.
Most people panic and go, oh my God, he's probably talking about me. So that might get people to go and do their screening. Exactly. But most women will never have a symptom. So I don't want you waiting until these symptoms. But the commonest symptoms are discharge, which are really not specific. A lot of women discharge, but this one will be offensive. They never go away. And at times they are bloodstained. Women bleeding all over the place. Women, you're supposed to bleed during your period. That's why we call it a period. You bleed, you stop. You bleed, you stop. But if you're bleeding all over the place, that's a very, very red flag. And more importantly, if you bleed after sex. Women shouldn't really bleed after sex. And that is not acceptable either.
This is the first time I'm hearing this interesting. Because I'm curious. I've been hearing cervical cancer, and I feel like these are not things for me. You know, I believe, I have faith, I can't have this kind of things. But the way you explained it now, I'm curious, and I want to go and do that screening. So how do you get this information to an average woman out there?
People who have faith. Who believe that.
We'll come there later. By the way, all of us, let's do this. It's not our portion. It's not our portion. That's what goes on every day. Yes. But it doesn't affect HPV. And women need to know. As long as you are doing it, I don't know whether we can mention that word on TV now, but as long as you're doing it, and you all know what I'm talking about, and some are lucky they've done it this morning already, please go check.
How do you make this interesting for people?
Oh, that's the whole idea.
Your life, you're going to die. Interesting.
No, that's actually a very valid point, because people switch off and they go, I don't want people going in there. You know, women, you're generally like that. But one of the reasons why I like making it so basic, the way I'm doing it, is to make people recognize 3 important factors. You need to get this thing done because they are doing it all over the world. And women are therefore living longer. If you don't want to die at 40, 45, 50, which is when most women in Africa die from cervical cancer, please, if you can open up for him, please open up for a doctor.
Okay, see.
Second one, yes, we all have faith. It's not our portion, yeah? But the Lord has opened the eyes of understanding of medical scientists to know these things so that people can live longer. And thirdly, we need women to survive in this country. In other parts of the world where they don't understand that women form the bedrock of society, they take care of their women. It's a shame and a travesty of justice to our women that there's no plan to save our women from a disease that kills 20 a day.
Wow. I totally agree.
So there's no other way to say this other than to let people know, please, ignore government, ignore anything else, take your own life into your own hands and go get checked.
Let me ask you this question. See, I was born in Jos, I grew up in the north, and there's a way we're brought up. We tend to be a little less forward, you know, that you are, yes, the southern ladies, do you understand? So some of these issues are very...
I don't understand.
We beat you.
Bold. Okay, bold. Okay. All right, is that better? All right. So we tend to be a little more, you know, conservative. Going to the doctor is a big deal for us. And then we go and open our, you know, and just, you know. So what sort of measures do you take for that woman in the north, in the village, who really, you know, it's even against her culture and her religion to be as open?
I feel this way. I've done screening Cardinal in Mina, in lots of northern states. Despite the fact that I'm even a guy and I'm talking about these things. Once they hear cancer and there's a person doing a test, everybody understands that. They will pull up their powder and say, Doctor, here come. Seriously. Yes. Now, but the reality of it is that we have to be sensitive, culturally sensitive to our people. 3 important things we've done with our work is to work with the first ladies in these localities, speak their dialect to them, and then use only female-only members of staff to make it easy for them. Thankfully, I get to talk about it, but most of my staff, all my staff are female. Okay, Dr. So that helps.
Dr. Femi, let me just tell you right here and now. When I went to your office,
yes, ma'am,
I really felt not violated, because you had to go there, and it was very uncomfortable, and I'm like, so I've been running away to go and do, because you started the procedure. Yeah, he found some organs on my cervix. I be some whatever it is.
Dr.
And you now did cryotherapy.
Hope it's not painful.
And he asked me, no, it wasn't painful. He asked me to do something. But the idea of Dr. Femi just being there, like, yeah, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
I want to see this man again.
So the idea of coming back to you is really, really scary. That's what has kept me away.
I can imagine. Thank you, Mariah.
No. Come back.
No, she's just admitting that she has a crush on me. So. Mr. Brown, please. Because usually, girls, ladies, you admit that if you feel like, oh, I don't want doctor to see me, it's because there's some. Well, if you don't really care, if you don't really care about who sees me,
so not true.
That's not true.
Okay.
Really, for me, I don't want my
ladies.
doctor to be the person I also chat with on a regular basis.
So the real question is, do you have female doctors?
Oh, I've mentioned that, but don't mind. Viewers don't mind her. She's just bringing a topical issue for discussion. She's not like that. I'm sure she's not. And obviously, she's had kids, and it's not only female doctors that are taking care of you. And doctors are great like that. We are very focused on the issue at hand. As much as we are charming.
Not all.
Okay.
As
long as we try and focus on the issue at hand, and of course we follow all the normal standard procedures, particularly if it's a opposite gender doctor that you're seeing.
There's a lady in the room.
Make sure there's a lady in the room, make sure that you are chaperone, and make sure the lady understands what you need to do. And of course, you can even use it as a topic for discussion next time. Male or female doctor, what do you prefer? And you see, they usually a 50-50
I'll prefer a male.
There you go.
That's
Thank
me.
you. Let's ask you.
I would prefer a woman, please.
I don't care.
All right. So fair enough. So that's what we
ask.
do. And then she quickly made a point there about if we discover something, we can do something about it. When women come for screen, they think you're going to find a cancer. But we are not. We're going to find precancerous lesions, which is what you were trying to say earlier. And these lesions are things that, I use a big grammar there, but they're just changes. Cervical cancer is one of the very few cancers that behave like this. That gives you about 5 to 10 years before it can actually lead to cancer, another 5 years before it can kill. That's why it's such a long disease.
Do you get stomachache with it?
No, ma.
So I have stomachache now.
Let's go on a break. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about it because there's a walk you're planning for this weekend. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Obiajili had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because I know most times when people here come for screenings, come for checkups and all of that, they are usually afraid because of money.
Oh, cost.
The cost. These things are I have faith. Once I pray, it's God will answer me and all of that. And so people are not able to. So how much is this screening?
Oh, yeah. We recognize that as a barrier of people accessing care, particularly in a place where the average income is less than 18,000 naira a month for the minimum wages. So we had to remove the cost. That's why the foundation is always looking for help and for donors. So we make it free on Fridays. But women come along with a 500 naira registration fee. And at times when women can't even afford the 500 naira, we have people who say, here's some donation. So really, women shouldn't have any excuse. On other days, if you don't want to avoid the rush, it's 2,500 naira, which is Monday to Thursday. And more importantly, that price is also subsidized. Normally, it should be about thousands, and that will keep a lot of people away. And statistically, we realize that when people come, 1 in 10 of people with screen will be positive.
Wow.
So
Now, when you find out they're positive, what's the next step?
Positive means that you have changes on the cervix, not cancer.
Right.
So that means a doctor who is trained to deliver a treatment, and the treatment is usually either freezing the area so that it can burn it off, because very extremes of temperature can burn the cervix, and then gives the cervix an opportunity to heal, and new layers of cervical tissue will grow over it. Then we can either remove it too, if that doesn't work, using electric wire under anesthesia. It's a more specialist procedure. We call it LEAP. And then we can give the women vaccination. Because after you've treated it and she goes back and she's lucky to have sex again, she will get infected again. So you have to give them the vaccine. And talking about the vaccine, the original motive for the vaccination was meant for pre-sexually active young girls. But research has now shown that all of you, if you are lucky to be having sex, will be infected too. And therefore, you must protect yourself up to the age of
I have
50.
Peter from Magodo. Peter, are you there?
Good morning, Brian.
Go ahead, please. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Please, the doctor, I want to ask the doctor a question.
How do you what?
The doctor.
Yes.
The doctor said the women contact whatever, maybe the cancer from men or whatever. I don't hear that place very well. Can you please explain?
My brother, not true. Now, it's true. HPV is the name of the virus. You've all heard of HIV. So just substitute the I with P. It's a virus that 99.9% of men carry on our skin, and condoms don't prevent this virus from getting to women. Women don't have any business with HPV. Their cervix is way up inside them, and that's designed to be like that. Until we guys say, I love you, darling, come on, let's do it. And then we give them the virus, boom, and they are infected for life. So it's true. However, please don't let Madam beat you up. Just say, Dr. Femi said, it's, you know, our normal flora in our body. We pick it up as children, as we are growing older, from our previous sexual partners. And of course, the biggest risk to women are men when it comes to HPV.
And that's why I wanted to ask, is it, if the man is very faithful to his
sexual partner, she can still get infected.
She can still?
Yes, because it's something that's normally on his body. So that's why I was trying to reassure guys so that Madam will not fight him.
Okay, so I know that there's a walk coming up this weekend that you're going to be organizing. Tell us about the walk, because people can actually get screened at that event. So please tell us about it.
Thankfully, January being the month of cervical cancer awareness, we've been doing a whole lot of fantastic, you know, even in Nollywood celebrity. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention her name.
Yeah, you mentioned a few.
Yes, she's been supporting us with this. But we want to round up the whole month with a walk, particularly for the people around us in Surulere, where we are based, so they can come and get screened. They know about the plan to screen women for free. Wow. for the rest
Tell
of the year.
Tell us some of the celebrities that are coming. Kate Henshaw.
Kate is coming, Darren is coming, Ombudsman, because I love the fact that he has this song called Focus. I want women to focus on their cervix this year, and a few others as well. We are very grateful to the organizations that are sponsoring this.
Can mention them, please?
I can't mention them for obvious reasons. We don't want to get into trouble.
Yes, so time, venue.
But we also want people to arrive at 7:30, free T-shirts for the first 100. AM, 7:30 AM, 7:30 AM, thanks, 7:30 AM, free T-shirts for everybody who arrives early, at least the first 100. Otherwise, just come with your white T-shirt. We've got loads of flyers. You'll be able to see what some of the things we're talking about and leaflets to share to people around us. And of course, use the opportunity to come and get screened. Bring your friends and family.
Are there going to be lots of screening sections? Because people are always worried about the crowd or the lines you have to wait to get screened.
By His grace, I'm looking for an opportunity to expand the services I offer. Operating out of 2 centers in Surulere and Bode Thomas. And it's just a building that we can only manage 3 screening couches. So it takes us a whole day to screen 150, 100 people. So we have styles, ways of managing that sort of crowd. But from a day-to-day basis, it's really getting...
Where are you walking to?
We are walking around Surulere. So we're starting from Bode Thomas. We'll go through Adirogun Sanya to Masha roundabout, stadium, then come back. And you can imagine if you live in that part of Surulere, it's a mix of the high and the low income. So we hope that we'll get a lot of people to be involved.
I know you've done
and of course, we do a lot of social media as well, so people can follow our,
I mean, even your address is so easy. I will post all these details online because people, I mean, when you talk about cancer screening, testing, the first thing that comes to your mind is your address. Everybody practically knows that address like the back of their hand.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think you've done a fantastic job
with
that campaign.
I remember 5 years ago when we started and you invited us here, it's a different journey. And thanks for the support.
And I'll definitely try to come this week. I mean, I say that all the time.
What's the guarantee that somebody will come and not run back? Run away.
Well, there's not much we can do about that. That's why we have to consistently raise awareness. That's why you should help me tweet about it. That's why you should do the same thing on your Facebook. That's why my sister here should say something about it to somebody.
I asked that question because of somebody.
I will say something about it.
So we have to run up.
Give me your information.
We don't have any more time. We have to run up.
So we can't even read tweets.
Yes, we have to run up.
Dr. Femi, you talk a lot too.
Dr. Femi, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for
we enjoyed your company.
Thank you.
Now,
I take that as a compliment.
We noticed and observed online, on Twitter, that the Monarch story is really, really trending on our page. Everybody's talking about it. So we know we didn't thrash it probably completely, but we're going to get a monarch and a government official to come at some point, maybe next week or 2 weeks' time, to discuss and thrash out this issue because we realize that people are really talking about it and it's pretty interesting. So we're definitely going to do a retake on that. Don't forget, our live audience show is tomorrow. If you want to be part of the live audience, come early at 7 a.m. to join the live audience on the studio so you can ask questions and be part of the conversation. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.